I was 7 years old when we moved to Macomb. Family of six. I have three brothers, and we moved to Macomb, and we lived on the southeast side. My dad was the junior high principal here at the Edison Junior High in town, which building's still there. Edison School now they just call it. And we lived in Hidden Hill subdivision for about 6 months to a year. Then I found another house about maybe a block and a half away from the school, so that my dad can walk and ride his bike back and forth. And yeah, it was we look back and talk about how great things were when we were kids around here. It really was. It was kind of a great childhood in Macomb. My brothers and I talked about this just recently, but why'd three of us out of the four, why did three of us go to Western and one, I call him defected. But it's the hometown university, obviously, and at the time I really had no idea what I wanted to do. I really didn't. It was everything from being in law enforcement to some outdoor profession. I was really interested in Boy Scouts and outdoors at the time, and finally I got involved into coaching, youth coaching, and that really triggered it for me. Obviously, my dad being in the school system kind of helped a little bit, gave me the opportunity, and then I had an opportunity here to take the teacher ed courses here. I was still in town here, obviously, and working. I was always working either part-time, full-time jobs after school, and dabbling in took classes at Western part-time, took classes at Spoon River College, just your basic general ed classes, and then the teacher ed program really turned it on for me. That and just getting into coaching in the community, different community school districts in the area, being able to coach there, and then jumping into the teacher ed program here really energized me. It's got to turn the whole thing around. When I went to the teacher ed program here, my other brothers, one got a business degree here, but he was very involved in music. Another one was into TV production, communication style. But we all really enjoyed our time here, and there was no real issues about leaving from the local high school right into the community. As a matter of fact, it was not that it was expected. It was really convenient for us. Is what it was. So. When I first started, I was interested in, to be honest with you, the park ranger style thing, because I was in outdoor activities, and I kind of was interested in it. I think I may have taken a class, some basic intro to that. I don't know if it was Parks and Rec at the time, or then there was some law enforcement. Obviously, law enforcement being one of the premier programs here, I did take some intro class here at the time, and then I remembered the dangers involved with being a policeman, and I don't know, it didn't appeal to my mom as much. But yeah, then of course the interest really got into youth activities, being in Boy Scouts and being a leader in Boy Scouts, and then just jumping right into kind of a coaching, and I always had an interest in athletics as well. So that's where it kind of just evolved into that. I was in the physical education program, and there was all kinds of little programs out there on campus. I worked my way through school. There wasn't a lot of financial aid from the family side. It was just a lot of government assistance, financial aid, or I worked, and so that was where I wasn't involved with a lot of per se clubs and stuff, but I was involved with intramural activities. That was a big thing for me. I was always part of a basketball team that did real well in the intramural activities here. We really enjoyed that too, by the way. And then anything that involved with the physical education program at the time, I was pretty involved with that. But yeah, that's where just going to all the activities on the campus. Football team back then, the Randy Ball days. The teams back then were amazing. They really were. And of course, going to all the the basketball games and just the athletic events is where a lot of my memories in the past are just from the athletic events in the day. So when I first started going to school at Western, I didn't do too well because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And one of the things I vividly remember was seeing some of the counselors at the time, and they looked through my transcript and they said, "Yeah, you're just not doing too well here." But they never got down on me, and they always stayed very positive, and just reinforced you that, "Yeah, we'd love to have you come back. We'd love to have you take this. How about this angle? How about this degree? How about?" Well, then when I had that opportunity to take teacher education program, boy, things just lit up. It really did. It's just very interesting. I really excelled from that point on. My GPA in my major was incredibly high compared to my overall GPA, but I really did a nice job with the classes, and the professors really took an interest in in me, because I saw the interest, I had the passion, so obviously there's a big feedback there. But the counselors, I was very impressed with or I guess it was academic advisors, never were discouraging by any means. And that was what really triggered me, I thought, was that they were never discouraging in the fact that I wasn't doing real well. I didn't really have a drive or a passion for what I wanted to do until I did. But yeah, so then the teacher ed program, really, really excellent resources. I was coaching a local team's, I think it might have been a junior high team at the time, and got so much feedback from and advice and consultation from some of the professors out here that really helped me out a lot. And that really helped me. And then of course a lot of the community coaches and stuff in the region helped me out, and that's where it really kind of formed. And then of course you get into the teaching, and then I had the opportunity to come back and get my leadership, educational administration leadership degree here. That was probably more life-changing than anything. Was just that you really learned about yourself and the leadership qualities in that field. It really pushed things from there. The office that I'm involved with now, we manage and operate alternative schools, and so these kids are they're down and out, and they just don't it's the old square peg round hole issues. Kids just don't fit in the home schools, and I always tell them, I said, hey, I was the same way. I said, it took me 9 years to get my undergrad degree because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Took a semester off here, took a year off there, worked part-time, worked full-time. I mean, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then once you find that thing, and they all look at me, and I'm, of course, Regional Superintendent of Schools for the Fort County region. They're like, yeah, he obviously didn't really have a passion or an idea at the time. So it'll come when it does come, then follow that. So yeah, they do. They're kind of, almost stunned at the fact that it took me that long to get my undergrad, but some people take longer than others, that's all. The lineage here of degrees are, my father got his ed specialist degree here. I have got my undergrad and my master's degree, and then my daughter, my oldest daughter, just graduated here a couple of years ago in RPTA. And she's currently working for the Big Brother Big Sisters in the area, and just recently got married. So she's doing well. And I think we have our names on one of the bricks out there. All three of us Mike says have graduated here. So I feel pretty proud of that. So I worked for about a few years as a athletic director for a school district, head coach for a couple different sports, and then of course full-time teacher in phys ed and some other topics and some other subject areas. And then I had the opportunity, I had some principals that were, encouraging to say, hey, this would be a perfect opportunity for you to get your leadership degree. So I did. I got my principal endorsement here at West. That takes about 2 or 3 years cycle to get that done. And then from there, it just, it really jumped up. I worked at a couple different local school districts in the region, and then had the opportunity to come where I am now at the Regional Office of Education. Well, let's see, I started coaching at Macomb as a junior high, and then I was at Colchester School District helped out the basketball program there, the boys basketball program. And then I went to industry as my first full-time teaching job, and that's where I was an athletic director and full-time teacher, varsity head baseball coach, varsity basketball coach, drove the bus, swept the floor, the whole thing. And then I had the opportunity to go to a neighboring school district, Southeastern Community School District, which is in Augusta, Bowen, Plymouth, just a few, about 20, 30 miles out of here, outside of Macomb. And then had the opportunity to work for the Regional Office of Education, which at the time covered 2 counties, which is the 2 counties I resided in and worked in, so it really worked out well. Was the Assistant Regional Superintendent of Schools, and then I was elected as the Regional Superintendent of Schools. I'm trying to think how many years ago that was. I don't even remember. I'm on the Alumni Council, which I really feel proud about that. I really learned an awful lot about the institution out here. Gave me a new real appreciation of higher education by being part of the Alumni Association and being Alumni Council. Really enjoy that. Plus, I serve on a number of different advisory committees and boards out here. College of Ed, I serve on their advisory board. There was a number of different other boards, which is now defunct, that I've been involved with out here. But the one I currently is still on the Alumni Council and the College of Ed. And professionally, I work with a lot of the teacher ed program out here in the College of Ed. I work a lot. Our office does a lot of partnering and working together. So every chance I get, wherever I go, I always make sure I wear my Western Illinois University T-shirt polo, pullover, tie. I mean, and that's always a conversation starter. And that's the big thing, is just promoting the institution. I mean, I really feel proud of the institution, and also the community. I mean, the town of Macomb and WIU, those two mesh so well, and they really do. And they mean so much to each other too. I think they go hand in hand. So as a real promoter of the institution and the community, I try to promote it as much as possible. So and professionally, my office, Regional Office of Education, we try our best to really promote WIU to all the area, mainly obviously the area school districts in our region. I got links on my website. Anytime there is any activities or whatnot, from the teacher ed programs or anything associated with the schools, I always make sure I push it out. One of the things that we've really pushed out is that Performing Arts Society does that Youth Performing Arts Series. I used to be a member of that and past president of that. I really worked hard to try to establish some funding for the schools to have transportation paid for that. And we finally did get that done. It was really good. So in other words, there's no cost for the schools to bring their kids to see a fine arts program I have. Well, some of these kids have never seen that before. And that's something I really was advocating for. I'm a real advocate for the fine arts, and that's something that a lot of these kids don't have that experience to go see, a nice play production or just any type of a large music production that's held out here on campus. Plus, it gets people on campus, and that's the big thing. Is I've been trying my best to do everything I can to get people to come to campus. Whatever activities are out here, I try to promote that out here. So the Youth Performing Arts Series thing has been a real benefit to the school districts in the area. That's something I really am proud to kind of keep pushing that thing too. Plus, there's any type of incentives to give kids in the area opportunities to go see some of the athletic events out here. I try my best. So yeah, we have also our website. We have I show a lot of the videos and ads that is produced out here to help market WIU, and I push that out essentially to the whole western side of the state that I have contacts with, and my colleagues in my profession. We try our best to try to promote Western as the premier Division I university in this side of the state. Well, I mean, there's some things, obviously life happens. I mean, there's circumstances happen, and I got married to a local girl, stayed in town, really enjoyed the community. The community in my mind is just one of those perfect situations where the quality of life is just, you can't get much better. It's a small town, safe, quiet. You don't have to deal with traffic. My brother, who used to live in LA, he'd drive 20 minutes, it'd take him an hour and a half. I drive 20 minutes, it takes me 20 minutes. 20 miles takes me 20 minutes. The quality of life in this town is incredible. And I realized that from some mentors of mine, and when they were talking about communities and school districts to kind of stay, and they really thought this, especially Macomb and being the hometown of a higher ed institution, it really added a lot of culture to the town too, and it was always appealing to me. I never had any reason to think about leaving. Now my brothers have had opportunities to take off, and they always talk about coming back and saying, this is pretty nice. Things don't move too fast for them, and they kind of enjoy that. So. But yeah, I obviously have had job opportunities that have been lucky that have risen here in this region. So, and I wouldn't trade it back. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I really enjoyed staying in Macomb and staying in Western Illinois here. A lot of my colleagues, you'd be surprised how many colleagues, either superintendents, principals, regional superintendents, anybody administration who has gotten their degree here at Western. And there's a lot of people in the western part of the state that have been touched by either the teacher ed program or the educational leadership program out here. So I am on the alumni council out here, and I'm also on the chamber board. I'm also on the chamber legislative committee board. I have been a longtime member of the Macomb choir board at the high school here. I think I've been the president for, I think I lost count, maybe 10, 12 years, somewhere in there. Real support of the fine arts in the region. I'm on the Homeowners Association board, the Quality of Life vice chair. I've been part of that for probably the last, 10 plus years, which was started by one of our past professors out here, Dr. Cronkite. I'm on the workforce board. I'm on esports, Mesa. There's a local esports board. I'm on part of that. Boy, a teen court, I'm a part of that as well. And I've been on, church building committee. I mean, the list, I had no idea I was involved as much as I did till I saw these questions and realized that, yeah, I guess I'm more involved than I realized. But it's kind of normal to me. I feel it's just natural that I, get involved with the community and volunteer as much as I can. Plus, I'm also a member of the Elks Club, the Lions Club, Chamber, just a lot of fine arts. I've been a past president of the Performing Arts Society out here, and a chair of a couple of their fundraisers, the wine tasting and the gala. I've been real proud to be part of all that stuff too. Well, I worked at a local restaurant. It's no longer there. I worked as a paper boy. That was a great job growing up. One of the best jobs I had was I worked for a local teleconnecting or electronics company, did a lot of installations on. And the guy's name was Bill Murphy. It was his own little company he had. And at the time, he was a alderman, city alderman. So, I was very involved in the city activities and stuff because he would always, we'd always talk about it. And then he also ran for mayor unsuccessfully one time too. But I just, he was the best man at my wedding. He was just one of my good friends. And he just really, he really taught me about being a community member. And I really learned a lot from him. His volunteer nature at his church and then in the community, that's where I say really molded me into, and because you always saw that cyclical feedback from that. I mean, when you volunteer, you get, obviously there's that intrinsic feedback of being a community member and volunteering and being part of it. And then, when you shop local, that always comes back to you. It really does. It really, and I think that's the thing that they've been trying to promote to a lot of people is that, when you shop local, there's a cyclical benefit that comes back to you as a community member that it isn't well known to a lot of people. And I think that is something that I think needs to be promoted as much as possible. Yeah, I mean, if you talk to some of your interviews before, you talk to a lot of people is that they came from Chicago or some suburban area and they realized what they had here. And maybe they had an opportunity for a job or some volunteer opportunity, and they really enjoyed it here. Or they had some mentor, they had some individual that really attracted them to stay, and they loved it. And that's the thing I think that really has been a kind of a theme for a lot of the people that come and stay is that it's the community. I mean, it really is. It's a wonderful community, Macomb, and it just feeds on itself as and there's so much involvement too. I mean, just the people who really you see all the involvement. I mean, my gosh, anytime you have a fundraiser or something happens, it's the amount of involvement that people are part of that really is impressive to me. Kind of moving to me too at times too. I mean, just simple things like the flags of love on Chandler Park. I mean, look at that. That's all done by volunteer work. It's just so impressive, I think. There's so many things. And then like the Heritage Days, there's so many more community involvement in that now. It's really, really impressive. So we've had conversations at the Chamber, and I've had a lot of public meetings where I've stood up and said, there's two things that really would benefit this community, this area. One, help recruit for WIU. And by recruiting, it's not necessarily, find a cousin or a nephew or whatever. It's speaking well of the institution that but just actually going out and verbally and out loud speaking well about it. Because they know they feel it. They just don't go out and, maybe they don't verbalize it as well. Two, shop local. Shop local. Amazon has hurt that a little bit, or traveling off to some Lowe's, or just shop local. And you'd be surprised the benefit that'll come back to you on that. Those are the two things I really have promoted a lot. Since my time on the board of different organizations of the board, those are the things that really benefit.